Om Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Maha Sayaka Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus. He is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. We are in Balakanda. That's the very first section of Ramcharitmanas or Ramayana. Verse number is 98. We remember the context. It's Shiva and Parvati, they are getting married. It's the storyline. But that marriage awaits in every individual. Every Jiva is Shiva. If you are not Shiva, then you are Shava. Two choices. Discover, realize I am Shiva. I am Brahman. I am the absolute self. Or stay tumbling from one incarnation to another. Shava means dead body. Live in a world of mortality. That's Shava. So two choices are there for the soul. Soul stays in the world of mortality, unaware of its essential nature. Think of the reflected sun in a jar of water. The reality of the sun is the sun up there, unaffected by all limitations. But there is an appearance of individuality in that reflected sun. And if it were to create its own imagination, may I become very powerful. May I have lots of gut-related souls as my relatives, and so many things. Then all its aspirations and desires and all it can gain is called transient. All that is Shava, dead. This is a very broad understanding and requires a lot of subtle intellect to grasp it. That's your life moves both ways. On one side, led by the lower self, you are moving towards creating more karmas and getting involved with the cycle of birth and death. But inspired by the higher self, you are also creating a passage that can take you out of the marshy condition of the world process. That struggle goes on called Devasura Sangram. The divine within you is fighting against the demoniac. If you allow the divine to win, your life is mostly successful. But that's again, most of these statements are figurative. Coming to the storyline, now follow the story along with the mystical meaning. You must remember that Shiva was first married to Sati. But Sati's father did not welcome Shiva. Sati had to allow herself to be burnt up in the fire and bring about humiliation a divine humiliation for her father Daksha. I will not go into details of that, but the mystical or simple understanding behind it, your soul is wedded to your intellect. And intellect has always a problem with ego. Ego does not give place for the transcendent reality. In ego's world, there is always time, space, causation. And intellect that stays conditioned by the ego, that intellect can pave the way by satsanga, japa, and all that. The intellect becomes purified, pave the way, but it has to be transformed. So as Sati, in storyline, she allows herself to be burnt up, Yogagni. And she is now born as the daughter of Himavan, Himachal, the deity behind the mountain Himalayas, implying it is a spiritual potentiality that's the father. And the mother of Parvati is called Mana. Mana is a beautiful bird. There's two implications. From a story point of view, you see the grace and the beauty of the bird. Mystical point of view, it is humility, self-effacing humility. Great Himalaya is wedded to mystic humility. And their daughter is Parvati. Parvati is Viveka Buddhi. That's the potential in every individual. And that is the goal of every aspirant. So you do not think of Shiva Parvati Vivah in some ancient time, but start looking for the whole Shiva Parvati Vivah right through your own life. And in every life that has to occur. This is where people then make a big mistake with religions. Every religion directs the mind to a big history. And then geography, where Shiva did really come and where was the marriage performed. All that has its own purpose, but it is its kindergarten purpose. The real spiritual movement is your internal change. And that divine potential is in every individual. No one is inferior or superior. Just like the sun, million suns shining in millions of jars, no matter whatever may be their appearances, every sun is the sun. Every soul is the divine self. But in order to attain the divine self, the soul in you must be wedded to intuitive intellect. And that wedding is Shiva Parvati wedding. In that wedding, three types of Baratis, marriage parties, Brahmas, Vishnus, and Shivas, they all have joined together. I have already given meaning, but to understand, you have three planes in your personality. The plane of senses, mind, which leads to practical reality. The world of practical reality. In this world, if you succeed, become famous, become joyous, do amazing things, then you are under Brahma's world. When Brahma's world is along with it, as you develop, work upon purifying your heart and develop divine qualities such as humility, non-violence, forbearance, compassion, and there are many great qualities called Davi Sampat. When you begin to develop that, it's called Vishnu's marriage procession. In the storyline, Vishnu comes with a whole group of gods as his party. Brahma comes with his party. Shiva comes with his skeleton party. Shiva's party is like MRI type. All those three planes exist in every individual. And your mind works upon it. Whenever you want to be socially recognized, your whole focus is how to deck your body with clothes, etc., and all fashionable things. That's Brahma's party. But when you are more involved with your own real inner happiness, then you work upon your sentiments, your subtle desires, your vasanas. You create an internal atmosphere of your understanding in a joyous way. When good qualities begin to develop, Vishnu's party has started. The third level of party, your mind is able to have X-ray vision of the world, implying the world is transient. No matter how wonderful people look like, ask the X-ray. And that's Shiva's word. That is to say, when you begin to develop vairagya, dispassion, your mind begins to understand the world with all its glory is extremely transient. Your real goal is not in the world of time and space. Your real goal is to discover your essential nature. And it is just like reflected sun to discover I am the sun. It is a similar project. And it is not so far out. Every time you go to sleep, you move away from the world of time and space. So it is not something confounding to the mind. It is very natural. Live your life with such fulfillment that senses become calm, your thoughts and desires become still, and in that stillness, ego seems to melt away. Then there is a revelation, I am that. I will not go into too much of that. Let me go into the story now. In the storyline, when Mana, mother of Parvati, looked from a distance the bridegroom of her daughter, she was so shocked and felt great compassion for her daughter, how she has to live a life of such sacrifice to please a person whose neck is constantly swirling with snakes. And he is inconceivably strange in appearance. At that time, Narada comes with 7 sages and consoles, rather, gives good instruction to Mayana, telling her about the story of Parvati, who she was, and that she is bound to marry Shiva. She is Jagadamba, the mother of the universe. Suni Narad ke bachan tab sab kar mita vishad. When Narada told the story of the previous embodiment of Parvati Devi, story of Sati, and how Sati has incarnated as Parvati with the sole purpose of marrying Shiva. In philosophy line, intellect must become intuitional. Intellect, pure intellect becomes Sati. When it becomes intuitional, it becomes Parvati. And once it has, that level has reached in your intellect, soul within you discovers I am Shiva and marries Parvati, gets blended with Viveka Buddhi. Soul and Viveka Buddhi joining together. That's the foundation of ultimate blossoming of your realization. Coming back again to the storyline, when Narada told all that story, Sabkar Mita Vishad, sorrow, worry, anxiety is called Vishad. The interpretation of meaning of Vishad, wish plus ad. Wish is poison. Ad, tasting it. Somehow become addicted to enjoying poison. Try to understand in a very profounder way. Just like there is drug addiction, there is dejection addiction. Sorrow addiction. That has its own physical aspect and mental aspect. But the point is that the more you allow your mind to be under depression, under sorrow or grief, the more you are damaging your spiritual movement. Your energy that could have been utilized to remove sorrow. How can you do that? If you allow your energy to flow through japa, meditation, satsanga, doing good to others. If you plan your life in such a way that you are allowing your heart to be purified, you will not become overpowered by sorrow or grief easily. But life is a very complex situation. Some form of sorrow or misery will come always. Just like the moon, every now and then is veiled by cloud. And each time it emerges out of a dark cloud, it shines brighter. Don't believe it? Ask the moon. Each time you survive an adversity in a spiritual way, you find yourself in a highly advanced state. Back to storyline. Hearing the words of Narada, all the vishad that people were overwhelmed with, the sorrow moved away. Chanamahu vyapeu sakal supur. The entire city began to resonate with joy. This great happening spread over the entire city, a joyous revelation. Tab mayana himavantu anande, puni puni parvati padabande, nari purusha shishu juva sayane, nagar log saba ati harshane. Mother Mayana, father Himavan, they became very exceedingly joyous, and they offered adorations to their own daughter Parvati, knowing her to be, she is the embodiment of Devi, goddess. The entire city, men, women, children, young people, aged, all of them became exceedingly happy. Lage hon pura mangal gana, saje sabahi hatak ghatanana. People started singing songs that are auspicious, Mangal Geet, songs that are invoking joyous happenings, auspicious songs. Golden jars containing auspicious material, they were all arranged. Bhati anek bhai jevanara. And most delicious types of articles of food were prepared. Bhojan samagri. The Sanskrit word jyonar. That's what happens. People are generally, I'm talking in a different direction, generally deprived of giving satisfaction to their taste glands. And whenever there is ceremony, a festivity, all their mind goes after collecting the best of foods. There are variations of foods that are planned by Hindus at the time of marriage ceremony. So jevanar ki jai bakhani, basahi bhavan jahi matu bhavani. And this jevanar, this type of feast, cannot be described, because this is meant to adore the mother of the universe. Sadar bole sakal barati, Vishnu viranch deva sabajati. Himachal, the father of Parvati, requested all the Baratis to come into the mandap. Vishnu, Brahma, and all gods were brought into one area. Vividha bhati baithi jevanara, lage parusan nipun suara. And all people, they lined up in different lines called panga. And very clever cooks, they started serving food. So there are many stages of enjoying a feast. First, to look at the plates. Look at what are the things brought first. The old style had their own sequences. What's to serve first and in what sequence. Nari brinda sura seje matajani, lagi den gari nivridubani. And this is also customary in India, even today. The people enjoy it while all these marriage parties being served, women begin to sing. And they have collected some data of those people who are sitting. And they have also prepared some witty innuendos about their characters. That's called gali. Literally meaning abusive words. But in the context of that ceremony, those abusive words are enjoyed by even people who are being abused and insulted. To give you a very broader understanding and profounder, when devotion and wisdom rises very high, then we look at the stories of Krishna, Rama, Buddha, Jesus, all from a totally different angle. A saintly person starts singing instead of Sita Ram, Radha Ram. To the masters, we are bringing Radha to Ram. Radha belongs to Krishna. Sita Krishna. That becomes a gali. But behind that gali, behind this type of apparent abusive words, is a profound understanding. They are all one and the same. The distinctions are needed as you are advancing. But once you have reached the height, then there is all are same. Sita is Savitri, Savitri is Saraswati, Saraswati is Lakshmi, Lakshmi is Krishna. And while they sing this, Gari madhur swar dehi sundar, Bingya vachana sunavahi, Bhojanu karahi sur ati vilambu, Vinoda suni sachupavahi. Those beautiful women, in their sweet songs, they are uttering innuendos and humorous, apparently slanderous words. And these people delay their eating because they want to listen. So the food that could have been finished in 15 minutes takes 51 minutes. That's again pointing. If you begin to enjoy meditation and sattva has entered your mind, time passes and you enjoy the passage of time. But if it is not so, then you go on looking at the watch. Have I finished my mantras? जेवंत जो बढ़ियो आनंद सो दुख कोटि हूँ न परय कहियो अचोवाई दीन है पान गवने बास जहाँ जाको रहियो. And so people were exceedingly joyous as they took their food. And that cannot be described even with millions of mouths. If you have a heart full of eloquence, one mouth cannot bring out all your eloquence. And even million mouths will not do right service to it. So finally, after this session was over, they washed their hands and mouths, and they took betel leaves. That's the style of food people generally have in India. So the tongue becomes red, lips become red a little. And they went to their different places, residences. बहुरी मुनि न हिमवंत कहूँ लगन सुनाई आई समय बिलो की विवाह कर पठे देव बुलाई. The sages told about the exact time, auspicious moment when the marriage has to be performed. And all the gods were called. बोली सकल सुर सादर लीन्हे समहि यथोचित आसन दीन्हे वेदी वेद विधान संवारी सुभग सुमंगल गावहीं गारी. All the gods, all the Baratis who had come, they were all again given seats according to their status. And an altar was prepared according to the instructions of the Vedas. And women sang those auspicious songs. सिंहासनु अति दिव्य सुहावा जाई न बरन विरंची बनावा. And a divine throne was placed. The beauty of that throne cannot be described. Brahmaji had created it as the climax of his creative art. Just remember that if one attains Viveka Buddhi, Brahma's world is transcended. So the entire art of Brahma comes together and the soul transcends Brahma's world. Brahma's world means the world of karma, desire and its fulfillment, moving from one life to another. That Brahma's world is Sakamya world. Attaining liberation is going beyond this Brahma's world, allowing your mind to be fascinated by divine qualities, discovering within your own heart amazing possibilities of peace, joy, universality of love, and all those things. Then you have gone beyond Brahma's world. And you follow the Uttarayana, the northern path, and I'm not going into that yet. बैठे शिवस विप्रन सिरुनाई. Shiva, Lord Shiva, who is the bridegroom, bowing down to all the Brahmins, priests. He sat upon that big throne. Hriday sumir nij prabhu raghurai, invoking Rama in his heart. बहुरी मुनि सन उमा बोलाई करी सिंगारू सखी लय आई. Now the great sages, Saptarshis, they brought out Uma. They asked Uma to come forth. Uma, Parvati, same, the synonyms. The friends of Parvati had decked Parvati in the best way possible. Shringar term is used as Shring refers to horns. But in this context, it refers to crest jewel of qualities. In other words, Davi Sampat, the divine qualities that I have been always talking about. Non-violence, humility, love for all, and so forth. All those qualities, they are the adornments of Viveka Buddhi. But in the storyline, it's just like Parvati Devi is being adorned by all wondrous jewels and pearls. Jagadambika jani bhava bhama, surana manahi manakinha pranama. Gods who were also present, rather the gods, they're all those who were present. They offered adorations to Parvati Devi, Manahiman. Knowing Parvati Devi is the universal mother. The entire universe has been planned to lead the soul to be wedded to Parvati. Soul is Shiva. When wedded to Parvati, that's the purpose of the soul, realizing who am I. Sundarata marajada bhavani, jaina koti vadar bakani. Parvati Devi's beauty is beyond description. She is the ultimate limit of all the beauty you can think of. Even millions of mouths cannot describe the beauty of Parvati. The joy, the profound experience that develops in the soul because of Viveka Buddhi, that cannot be described, indescribable. In other words, that state of realization goes beyond thought, word, and action. कोटि हूँ वदन नहीं बनाए वर्णत जग जननी शोभा महा सकुचहि कहत श्रुति शेष सारद मंदमति तुलसी कहा. Parvati Devi, the mother of the universe. Her beauty cannot be described even by thousands of mouths. Even Vedas, great cosmic serpent Shesha, who is a symbol of cosmic mind, and Saraswati Devi, who are the greatest, who are endowed with the greatest eloquence, even they bow down in humility when the task of describing the beauty of Parvati is asked of them in simple terms. The divine experience of Satyam Shivam Sundaram goes beyond all description. Parvati Devi was brought into that Vivaha Mandap, the canopy, and showing great shyness. She's not looking at Shiva, but her eyes are set on the lotus feet of Shiva. And her mind is like a black bee enjoying the nectar of the lotus feet of Shiva. Muni Anushasana Ganapati Pujeu Shambhu Bhavani Kausuni Sanshay Kare Jani Sura Anadi Jiya Jani. Now, the marriage process is under the direction of priests. So, as the priests gave the direction, gave their instruction, Shiva and Parvati, they offered adorations to Lord Ganesha. Now in storyline, Shiva and Parvati are going to become the father of Ganesha. How could they have adored Ganesha? Now what the scripture is giving to you, a shocking understanding. Because all these stories about gods, etc., they don't relate to time and space. They are meant to create an allegorical presentation for your mind so that your mind can work upon it. Ganesha is always there. But when you describe Ganesha, how was he born? Then you are highlighting certain points about Ganesha. That he is born out of Parvati's. Parvati is taking bath and she just puts together some of her beauty paste and forms it into a little baby and breathes life into it. By that description, it shows how Parvati, who is nature, Prakriti brings her best. And that best goes to form the body of Ganesha. So that is simply describing Ganesha. Ganesha is already there. The story is just giving you highlighted points about Ganesha. It's just like God is always there. But when you study Krishna's story, he is born at a certain time and a certain place. Or Rama's story, he is born in Ayodhya and all that. But before Rama was still there. Before Krishna is still there. So his storyline doesn't bring about a historical development. In simple terms, historical things are transient. That's not that superficial. And historicity is a kind of allegorical description. जैसी विवाह कै विधि श्रुति पागाई महामुनि ने सो सब करवाई. The great priests, they let Shiva and Parvati follow all rituals in all detail. गही गिरीश कुश कन्या पानी भवहि समर्पी जानी भवानी. Himachal, the father, holding in his hand kusha grass, which is a symbol of something sacred, and spiritually symbol of vairagya and symbol of sharp intellect. Come back to this story. Holding in his hand kusha grass and hand of Parvati, daughter. With one hand he has a grass, with another hand Parvati's hand. This is a ritual. The rituals go through a lot of details. It will blow your mind if you go on asking for all details. And then that hand was brought to Shiva. Hand offered into hand. Also is this subtle importance. Husband and wife, they are complementary and supplementary. Hand is the active aspect of your personality. What you are doesn't matter. How does your hand work? That matters. So be handy. Husband and wife, all their progress will depend upon their hands, their practical personality. And each one must help the other and allow both together to grow in a spiritual manner. The real growth is spiritual growth. That's called Panigrahan. Pani the Sanskrit word for hand. There's a riddle in Sanskrit and Hindi language. बरसे कंबल भींगे पानी, Kabir Das ke ulta bani. Saint Kabira uses these words, but apparently it seems contradictory. Literally, what I said, it literally means barse kambal. Kambal referring kamal. Lotuses are coming down, and bhinge pani, and your hands are wetted by lotuses. Two meanings are there. Kambal has lotus or blankets. Blankets are coming. But what it implies, eyes are eyes are described as lotus, barse. From the lotus eyes, tears come down and hands begin to wet, an expression of great feeling and joy. So that's a riddle. How can the blankets rain down and hands become wet? The same word of pani has been used. Panigrahan, when husband and wife to be married, wedding stage, hand placed in hand. That's called Panigrahan. Bajahi bajan vividha vidhana, sumana vrishti nava bhaya vidhinana. Numerous types of musical instruments began to create their sound, musical sound. And from the heavens, flowers rain down. Sumana vrishti. You must know the scriptures open up door to something very profound. But generally people don't wait for that. They go on reading further. Suman is flower. But real Suman is good mind. Su-man. When the mind becomes sattvic, as if flowers are pouring down on your body. This soul being wedded to Viveka Buddhi, that brings about such shower of suman, flowers that you cannot imagine. Sakal bhuvan bhari raha uchahu. The entire world was filled with joy. Another point to understand. The scriptures have talked about it. When any soul attains enlightenment, that has a tremendous effect on the world around. Basantavat lokahite charanta. As if a spring season has come to manifest. And also come down to the smallest level. Any degree of being good you have done thereby or created thereby such positive vibrations in the world you can't understand. The role of a human being is not limited, though a human being is just 5 feet, 6 feet. But the role of a human being in this world has immense directions. So, sakal bhuvan bhari raha uchahu. In other words, if we want to do the utmost good to humanity, utmost good to all, You can do that by moving towards God realization. A Godward movement is that subtle secret of doing good to all. Dasi das turagarath naga, dhenu bachana mani vastu vibhaga, an kanak bhajan bhari jana, daij dinhan jai bakana. And the description of storyline, Himachal and Mana, they gave dowry of all types of maidservants and chariots and horses and elephants and cows and clothes and jewels. All these are jnana lakshanas, characteristics of wisdom. Just like when the sun shines, you can describe how so many birds and so many trees and so many leaves, they offer their adorations to the sun. Poetic language. And with this, I'm going to conclude. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvaruvabadhana Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat. Om Shri Ramaya Namah. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.